I gotta show up regardless. You feel me? So that's where I be at with it. So
Facts.
hello, 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 and welcome to the Immersive Experience, a podcast about you, for you, from you. And tonight we talk about the ego versus divinity. And I'm really excited to like talk about this. So I want to see where where
I
we
swear, look,
go.
I didn't even know the topic, but I was just watching something before this that goes perfect with what we about to talk about. I was gonna say it anyway, but go ahead. I don't want to interrupt.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, I'm excited about it. So I know like and I wish we would have had some more people because I would have liked to get a little more perspectives, but I'm cool with the two perspectives that we gonna have. Don't care how close, but oh, look at that, me talking. Hello, Pinky.
Hey, Desi
Hi.
Lou. How y'all been?
Oh,
Hey,
this
I'm
gonna
Pinky.
be
Hey, Miss Pankin.
girl. I manifested you, love. No,
Why would you say?
I said I wish we had some more people,
And
No,
you
I
popped
was
up.
coming
and you
on.
popped up like that, girl.
I was coming on.
Yeah,
I was gonna
so
find a way.
I see you. I see you. I didn't know. I did not know. But I am going to give you all a chance to introduce yourselves. And I just want to let you all know if you're watching the recap of this or if you're tuning in live, make sure you show us some love. And also, you can subscribe to us on YouTube at the Immersive Experience A podcast and also on Instagram at the underscore immersive experience. All right. Miss Pinky, you want to go ahead and
Hey, you guys. My name is Pinky. I'm basically in the conversations. I'm like a love spirit guide. That's what I always tell people. I'm always about guiding people towards love, towards self, and just towards their energy of what they want to do for their life. Learning how to trust yourself, learning how to talk to yourself, and learning how to be in love with yourself. But hey, you guys, my name is Pinky. That's it.
mental?
Okay. Uh-oh. Breaking up.
Oh, it's you,
Broken up.
mental.
Oh, my bad.
Okay.
Mental. Y'all already know what time it is. Overstanding darkness. Get my buy my book, Overstanding Darkness, all about us, by us, for us. Like Miss Desi said, we talk about this nine ether. Why our hair is the only hair that grows up to the sun. But you can check me out on YouTube, Overstanding Darkness. You can check me out on Facebook, Overstanding Darkness. There's a theme here. So I'm just letting you know, okay? When you check me out, I'm all about knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, turning into evidence, experience, and reason that turns into spiritual enlightenment, infinite love, and cosmic awareness. So let's keep it going.
Hey, I like that. So, hey, Riz, how you feeling? How you feel? Happy to see you. So Pinky actually came up with this topic. Look, I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm gonna put it out there. She was the one who said, "I think you should talk about the ego versus divinity," and I
Okay.
liked it. I was like, "Let's do it. Let's talk about it." So, um, I was happy you brought that up. So I want to ask you all, what's your explanation of the ego, and then what's your explanation of divinity? Pinky.
Honestly, when I had asked you the topic, I'll be real for real. That's something that I'm still pondering on because I feel like at times ego can look like divinity, but divinity will never look like ego. And when I say that, because like when I let me get the cooking. let me
Yeah,
get
okay, okay. We
the
listening. We
cooking.
listening. We
Let me get
listening.
the cooking.
I'm
Let
drunk
me
over
get
here. Oh, you lulling me. You got me. You said it is and it isn't. All right. Let me focus. I'm focused. I'm sorry, Miss Pinky. Go. I'm focused.
uh when you think about it like in an ego perspective, you live in your ego because you're confident in what you're doing, and the ego isn't bad. One thing about me, I don't think ego is bad, and having a little bit of ego is not bad, because when you think about it, when you start something new and everybody is against you, you need that ego to pump you up, like, yeah, I'm that. And when you starting something, not everybody gonna support half the time. You can have one support and you still gotta have that ego to keep going. But in your divinity, I'm not saying you got to be humble, But I'm saying you got to know that you got to walk with a certain peace, you got to walk with a certain love, and you got to walk with a certain confidence. And that's not all the time rooted in ego, but it is rooted in a confidence that God has given you. You get what I'm saying? You get where I'm going?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm gonna tell
yeah.
you what
So,
it's rooted in. It's rooted in love.
mm-hmm. And
Okay. The
that's
more
why
you, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, dear.
you can go ahead.
No, no, no. I don't want to interrupt. You were talking. Finish your thought because you were in full stride. But go ahead. I thought you were asking a question, but go ahead.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of the times I feel like ego can look like divinity, but divinity can't look like ego. Because when you do stuff out of divinity, you're really doing stuff, like you said, it's rooted in love. And when it's rooted in love, you have no pride with what you're doing. You don't care about the reward about it. You don't care about somebody trying to
Mm-mm.
like bless you and receive something back from it. You know this is something that God has told you to do, and your reward will be fulfilling your spirit at that moment. But with ego, you're doing stuff because it's like, I just want people to, people to scream my name. It's like
Well,
artists who go
no.
to concerts and who
What
scream
if
and
I told you that the ego is the Satan in us?
the Satan in us.
The Satan in us. That
I
would
could
be the
see that.
evil part in us. And think about what
Yeah, I
is
could
the
see that.
ego? What does it do? Right?
I
Think about
could
what
see
the
that.
ego do. The ego says we're the best at
Mm-hmm.
everything.
Mm-hmm.
But we know we're not the best at everything.
Yeah. I go to a
So
basketball game
I'm
thinking I
trying to
can play.
I'm trying to bring the ego back onto the that's why it's the I, the ego, and the I can't remember the scientific, the I, the ego, and the super ego. But
Mm-hmm.
basically they're just breaking down, you know what I'm saying, the mind, the subconscious, and the conscious.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's all they breaking down. Okay, the reason the ego is like the Satan is because the ego is always prompting us for more.
Yeah.
That's the problem with the ego. More, 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 more. We're the best. We need more. We're the best. We deserve more. We the best. We need to eat more. We need the best foods. We need the best cars.
Mm-hmm.
Ego, 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 ego. Divinity, although you have the ability to do everything that you want to do, have the best cars, have the best houses, have multiple women, have all the drugs, have the Hollywood life. Divinity says, no, see, I'm not here for that. I bless you because I love you, because you're a part of me. That's that capital L love. When you give without needing anything in return. That's why it's so powerful. Okay, that's that divinity that Miss Pinky talking about. When you in your divine state, you walk around, people just see you and get happy. That's power. Don't get it twisted. I felt that when Miss Pinky came on and she started talking, you can see the energy and the love in her. Ain't got nothing to do with nobody else.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They said there's one thing above love. Oh, what was it? Authenticity.
Authenticity.
When
Mm-hmm.
you were speaking authentic from what you know, and you were happy to say it, and you knew it, and I could feel it. That's love. Giving, that's divinity. Giving with needing nothing in return. But the ego always wants more, and that's the problem with the ego. Like Miss Pinky said, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but sometimes you got to know when enough is. In fact, all the time you got to know when enough is enough. And that's where I would break down the difference between ego and divinity.
All right. Well, thank you. And Pinky, I want to let you know that when you're talking about the ego, that we want to, it's in its strengths lies its weakness. So it's
Mm,
that same ability to remake the reality at its will is the same ability that it doesn't allow the divinity to work in. So that's why when you said it could mimic, ego could mimic divinity, then
Mm-hmm.
I was understanding. I got what you was trying, I got what you were saying. So I like the way you put that though. So yeah. So what's divinity to you, Pinky?
Divinity.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something I can describe. It's just something that I can be. And I'm gonna be real honest. Like I was
I
just
like
thinking
that.
about that when you asked me that. It's not something I can describe. It's something I can be. Like you said,
Mm.
when you came on here, you felt my love because I have divinity in me. I have favor. I have grace. I have God in me. And people see it when they see me smile, when they see me talk, when they see me be me. Because that's divinity. Because what you say above love is authenticity, and that's how I walk. Authenticity every day, all day.
And
So
I'm just
I
saying,
couldn't
you
describe
walking
it.
in your power.
Oh, thank you.
I just want you to know if ain't no one said it to you.
Okay, not today. But usually every other day, Desi Lou got me. Okay.
Hey, then blessed and highly favored. I see it.
Okay.
All right. So, do y'all think that the ego is a hindrance to spiritual growth, or does it serve a purpose in our personal development?
Who wanna go first?
Go,
What you
go,
feel?
go, love.
Go
Ladies
ahead.
always
Go
first.
ahead, Pinky.
Okay, but I feel like it doesn't hinder it. And I get where it takes us back to what mental says. You gotta know when to have it on, but you also gotta know when to check out of that hoe. Because at the end of the day, you gotta know, you gotta have some type of pride about yourself. You gotta
Hmm.
have some type of acceptance about yourself. You gotta have some type of little alter ego that's inside of you telling you you can do this. Even when you at your lowest and you ain't got nothing, you still gotta have that faith. And I feel like ego can be a base of faith when you come to like wanting to be not delusional, because I don't like that word, but wanting to be like a faithful fantasizer dreamer type essence. So I definitely believe ego is something that is not going to hinder you. And ego is not something that can hinder you, but it can hinder you. It just depends on how you use it.
You're doing it again.
What? What?
But yeah,
Listen, I hear what you're saying. I was with you until the end because really, the ego is important. Why? Because it's just
Mm-hmm.
very important for us to feel good about ourselves. So it
Mm-hmm.
has its function. Once again, the problem with the ego is when it gets out of control.
Mm-hmm.
But that's like any of our functions that we guide. Whenever we go by the ego, you know what the ego loves? Here we go, Desi. Hit me with it. What does the ego love?
hit her with it. She ain't never heard you say it.
No, no,
Hit her
no,
with
because it's something I say all the time. What does
it.
the
Hit her
ego
with it.
love? Huh?
Hit her.
What looks good, feels good, tastes good, sounds good, smells good.
Mm-hmm.
And we need that at a certain point of our life. But when we become grown, we cannot be searching and only looking for what looks good, tastes good, smells good, sounds good, feels
But
good.
wait. I want to ask you, why not though?
Because at certain points you have to your spirit should kick in. And once your spirit kicks in, okay, once your mind starts tapping into the infinite and the eternal, because that's where we're from,
Mm-hmm.
all right, then your whole view of things changes.
Mm-hmm.
Now you don't need anything material.
Mm.
What looks good, feels good, tastes good, sounds good, smells good don't mean as much as it did before because now you know there's a whole inner world within you. And this world is way more vast than what you see out here.
Wait, can I ask this? Can ego just be in the material?
It is. It exists in
I
the.
would agree. It isn't just the material in the
That's
physical body,
that's
it's part of the
that's the
animal
I.
spirit,
That's the id. That's
that
the
animal
ego
spirit.
is the I. That's what the ego is.
All right.
So
Yes. I mean,
hello, the bat. Would
what
Hi,
you
up, Bat?
hi everybody.
welcome back, bat? Would you like to introduce yourself?
I am Derek, aka the Bat, Batman. Either way.
You
Um.
gonna sing us some songs like immature?
uh.
I will never lie again. I will
Oh
never lie.
yeah.
Desi Lou really can't sing.
Yo,
Okay.
yo, Desi, we got to get back to it. We was on something now. We flowing.
Yeah, we going, we going, we
My
We
going.
flowing right now. What's up, man? So, Mister, let me take it from Mister Bat. What is the difference in your mind between the ego and divinity? Now, we done talked about it already, but we want your view.
like I said. Like as you were saying, like that's one is the flesh and one is more spiritual. Like
Okay.
yeah.
Fact.
Yeah. Your ego is more based off of how you want to appeal to others. I would say.
Mm.
The divinity is
Yeah.
more self, how you truly feel.
Or
Mhm.
what you truly are.
Right.
Exactly. You gotta accept that too. But you know what I say? Noise is ego, silence is divinity. So
Mm.
the moment when you able to turn off the noise, you will be able to reach divinity. But most times we not able to turn off the noise. It's them people in the world who say, my mind, I can't control what I'm thinking. I can't. It's those people who can't turn off the silence. You can't silence the noise. Because your mindset already in a place of lacking. You don't have the
Well,
ability to even
how
turn the
do
shit
you
off.
silence the noise? Let's teach them. What do you do that's the next question. What do you do, Miss Desi, to silence the noise?
I go within. I shut up. I get quiet, and I gotta quiet everything else. I go in and I search me. A lot of self introspection. I am an investigator, so that's how I silence the noise. The more I get to understand who I am, the more I get to understand the things that I am. Understanding why I move the way that I move, understanding
Mhm.
that I can do things far
From the
beyond
inner you.
what my mind is capable of if I simply just put my mind to work.
So what's the process of that? What is the process of going in you?
There we go.
What's
Uh-huh.
the process?
How do you
Yeah.
start that? How do you start going in?
You
What
be
does that
curious
look like,
about
feel like?
yourself. You become an investigator, literally. That's
So
No, like what you
what
do?
trigger
Like,
you.
do
Your
you put on
emotions
music?
trigger you. Find the little things that get you disheveled. Find the little things that get you out your body.
Hmm.
And that's how what they say all the time. Shadow work. Do your shadow work. Do your shadow work.
Find the things
And
that
whether it's
trigger you
yeah,
and figure out why they're triggering you.
see your
Hmm.
fears and go inside of them and take out what they feeding on. Examine what they feeding on.
So
Hmm.
I'm with you, Miss Desi. I'm gonna give y'all a little easier way. Everything is gonna be based on your breath control. Meditation is breath control. Frozen Zen. That's what the Chinese say when you can just picture one thing and one thing only. That's filtering out all the distractions. So we have to start learning how to breathe correctly. Breath is spirit. I'm gonna say it again. Breath is spirit because the way you breathe will automatically tell you how you're going to feel and think. Because when we become emotional, angry, upset, we feel someone died, our breathing throws off. We start to hyperventilate. That hyperventilation throws off the oxygen matrix to the brain. That brain now vivids. And what do we do if we too much? We pass out. Same things with the monks when they can slow their breath down to almost 1 or 2 breaths per minute. That is energy that's they're forming inside them. Believe it or not, that's power. That's why they never get sick. Be all in breath control. All right. Most people breathe 18 breaths per minute. 666. That's where they get that term from. Why? Because it allows the animal spirit, the emotion to take over you. If you get mad, you act mad. You get jealous, you do jealous shit. You get happy, you happy. Like, but it allows you to act out your emotions. So the key to meditation is breath control. There's many books on breath control. All you got to do is look up any one of them. I advise you to get the Metu Netter. It had breaks down the whole animal suit, this flesh body, and shows you how to work with it spiritually and physically.
I also
And go ahead.
include seclusion. Seclusion. You need.
Yes,
Yeah.
silence. What Miss Desi was saying, getting by herself.
All right. So I know Pinky, you were saying how you talked about how the ego can be not always a hindrance, but it can aid in your spiritual growth and your personal development and different things like that. Um Derek, the question was, oh wait, haha. What was the question? The question was, is ego a hindrance to spiritual growth or does it serve a purpose in our personal development?
Um. I think that can be more of a double-edged sword. It can be both.
Facts.
That's what,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what pick
You
you up.
have to you have to have with ego, you have to have some pride. And if you
Thank
don't have
yes.
pride in anything, then you know, you don't what is there what do you stand for? Stand for something fall for what? Stand for something fall for anything? Ain't that what they say?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's
Stand
a,
for nothing, fall for anything.
Right.
But you're
yeah.
right. Don't they say pride before the fall?
Mm-hmm.
Ain't
Yeah.
that another saying? So pride is good until it becomes out of control, and that's what makes the ego the double-edged sword. You
Exactly.
need it, and then you know when to leave it alone. Because if it goes out of control, you start acting like an asshole.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, how does the concept of divinity influence our understanding of self-worth and identity?
Say that one again. One more
Wow.
time.
How does the concept of divinity influence our understanding of self-worth and identity? Anybody want to take a stab at that one?
You don't want me to go first.
I don't care who go first. Go
Uh,
ahead.
Divinity is your identity and your self-worth. That's the bottom line. That's the highest you can be.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
It's being your divine self. That means that you are in the physical, in a world, here we go, but
Mhm.
not of it. Why are you not of it? Because everything you think and see is in another realm, but you're down here in the physical, functioning. I'll leave it there.
I was about to say, so you believe that we're just having a human experience, but we're spiritual beings?
Number one, I don't believe in anything. Either I know or I don't know. But
Mm-hmm.
yes, you are correct. Because right now you could close your eyes and picture a Coca-Cola can,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then the
Mm-hmm.
next thing I would ask you, what if you can close your eyes and see a Coca-Cola can? How can you do it without your eyes, your
Mm-hmm.
physical eyes? And if you're seeing it, wait, who's looking and who's doing the seeing?
Mm-hmm.
You can think things in your mind. You can say things. Well, how who's listening and who's saying if it's in your mind? It's letting you know there's another dimension. It's called the fifth dimension. Within your
Mm-hmm.
mind, you can go anywhere. You can be anything and you can have all the power you want.
Come on, reading rainbow.
I'm trying to take
Let's
this
talk.
is your divinity. This is what
Rainbow.
we talking about.
Cause
Your divinity.
what?
It's in you.
he just
Mm-hmm.
opened the
Everything, all the powers of Christ are in you. Christ isn't a person, it's an energy. That's why he said, all of you are gods.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he said that. That's why you see in the scriptures. What is it? St. John 32, chapter, no, 32:10. Didn't I say ye are gods and the scriptures cannot be broken? Why did he say it? Because no one does the science and knows. This is what you get out of, once again, that metu netter. Breaks it down, shows you how we come from a world of darkness. Darkness compressed itself so tightly that it bursted into a sun. sun/son. And who was the mother? The great mother of darkness. All that dark space represents the mother. 93% of space out there is dark. 7% represent the stars and stuff. And them setting that 7% came out of the darkness. We are made from cosmic ash,
Stardust.
stardust. We don't know who we are. Don't get it twisted. The
Oh,
ones that got they foot on our neck, they know who we are.
better read my poetry.
They
I'm gonna
know who
tell
we
you
are.
who you is. Hey,
Okay?
listen, I
Don't
got
think they
you.
doing all this stuff to black people all over the world because they just got a hate for us. They know who we are and what's happening. They know we waking it up. They know it.
Mm.
They just trying to get whoever they can get. The last scavengers. All right. If you go follow me on Sunday morning, we go over Overstanding Darkness, the book of Enoch. It's the book of knowledge. It talks about other realms, multiple sun systems, the galactic order. All that Star Wars stuff they took out of these books, these sacred books, then they feed it back to us in Hollywood crap. So when
You
we
know
hear the
what?
truth,
I
when we
want to
hear the
tell
truth,
you.
we'll think it's something they came up with when they done stole it.
You know what? This a thing that's been going around on YouTube, and it's a lady who claimed that she wrote the Matrix and the Terminator series. She a black lady,
I
and
seen it.
they was
Yep.
interviewing her about that. So when you talked about Hollywood, that made me think of that. So, thank you. I remember that, and I started looking at it. I was researching it, but she was talking about how Sarah O'Connor is Neo Mama and bop bop bop. It's whole little you did, y'all. If y'all interested
Oh
in that
joint.
type of stuff, like
Oh, she won
definitely
that
go and
lawsuit.
watch it. But it's on YouTube. I
Yeah,
seen
she
it.
won that lawsuit.
Oh, she
She got
did.
hundreds of millions.
Oh,
Oh
I didn't
yeah.
know
Oh yeah. They had to pay that black woman.
that. They gotta
Okay.
pay a lot of people for they
Hey,
what's they called, they psychological content. What's it
look,
called?
I
They
tell them all.
what's it called? Oh,
I
I
tell
can't
them
think
all
of
the
it.
time. You can get some of the people some of the time, but you can't get all the people all the time.
Yeah, y'all
Mm-mm,
ain't never heard about that lady who sued
mm-mm.
the KKK?
I said play
The
who?
what?
The lady who sued the KKK,
For what?
and she won for killing her son.
Oh, and
She
she should.
won, and she
And
won
she
that
should.
lawsuit. She bankrupt that KKK out there. She sure
I'm
did.
just
I promise she
you
did. I
gotta
was like,
you
okay,
gotta
Hillary,
remember
let her go do
we're
it.
in the
Get to it.
we're in the realm of truth. If you want to know the spirit of truth is right now in each of us, sitting there spurring us to be like, oh my God, what the hell is going on?
You know what,
There's truth
mental?
being
Thank you
dropped.
for
You know what I'm saying? Because
introducing.
we don't get this a lot. Go ahead, Desi.
Thank you for introducing the truth into all of this. So
Mhm.
let me ask you, what part does the truth play in ego versus divinity?
Uh-oh. Now that's a good question. Excellent.
So,
Divinity is more willing to accept the truth. Oh,
hey, I like where you finna go with this. Keep coming.
ego is things to the ego. You know, if it only feeds the ego, is it willing to accept it?
The ego gonna
There
manipulate
you
it.
go.
The ego gonna make it play to its will. It's gonna wish you get your
No,
lies
he
from.
said it right. What does the ego
Yeah.
need you to do? What to it?
I forgot. What
Didn't you
I
say
Feed it.
feed it?
No,
Yeah.
feed it. Yes. That was the key word you said. The ego needs to be fed. And if you're a winner and you're winning, the ego's with you. But if you do something and you are losing, the ego like, oh hell no.
What's the saying in philosophy is roll the rock up the hill, and then even once you and when you win, you roll the rock up the hill still. So it's if you go into the library before you get the knowledge, then you still go to the library after you get the knowledge. If you
Fact.
praise God when you losing, I mean when you winning, then you praise God when you losing. And y'all
Mhm.
be so stuck on the other side with your marine asses, cause we only come in when it's raining. Fuck you talking about?
Mhm.
No, like y'all gotta be okay with everything. And that's the thing that I'll be understanding, because this what mental be trying to get people to understand, that if you
Mhm.
take the good and the bad off of these things, then you'll be able to just see, and this is the truth of what it is. Because any
Learn the
skill
lesson.
that you could have had when you was doing it for bad is something that you could still, or whatever you deemed bad is still a skill that can, once you learn how to use a hammer, you can use it a million and one ways. And that's
Facts.
just the truth of what it is. If it's a tool, and if it's a tool then, it's a tool now. So you just gotta learn how to use it. It don't care how many attachments you put on it. It don't care how many how much you soup it up. Like if it's gonna be a tool, then you gotta utilize it for what it is. And truth is the tool. And you made it clear that truth is the tool that both sides utilize. But divinity uses truth purely. You understand what I'm saying? Ego, what you said, you gotta feed the ego. You can't feed the ego truth, because if you feed the ego truth, you fuck up the delusion.
No, you can as long as you're winning. As long as you on top, the ego is
That
being fed.
but divinity don't care whether you winning or not. So I
Facts.
I
that's all
don't
I'm
know, cause
saying.
I feel like it depends on your mindset and how strong it is. Because even if you in your losing season, your ego will make you feel like you in your winning season. It's a matter of fact of this is what I tell people all the time: that mirror magic. Get in that mirror and really what is it, rewording how you
But
see
this,
things. But then, as you said, it's that divinity at the end of the day, because the divinity is gonna accept the truth. It's gonna take the ego a little bit longer. That's why you gotta get in that mirror every day.
but I
That's what I
agree
feel.
with
But
you.
it's more
It
about
is,
eliminating the ego. You
but
allow the
this,
ego. The ego really supposed to function until we become spiritual being. Once you become spiritual, you don't need an ego no more.
I don't know
I
about it.
wouldn't say that I necessarily agree, but here's the thing that I would think is that you can now, your ego should worship, your ego should serve your spirituality.
That.
And that it is not about diminishing it, it's not about putting it out, but it's about making your flesh serve your spirit. If you're a spiritual being
Mm-hmm.
and having a human experience, then your flesh needs to submit. That's just that. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the whole ideal of, and you could say, but I think it's about an integration because I still have to pay attention to
It's a
all of
control.
who I am.
It's
Yes,
just a control. You control the ego. You control your emotions. You
exactly.
control your thoughts. It's just control. But when I say put it out, I mean once your inner faculties, your
Yeah,
thought, your emotions are under self control.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The only way to get to that self control is to go inside of self.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Nothing out here can do it.
It can. I agree with that.
There's
But
no
I,
truth out here with your eyes. There's no
yeah,
loving. There's no forgiveness. There's no loyalty. It's not out there. It's in here. It's in you. In you. If you haven't been taught it, seeing it ain't enough. It's
if
not gonna
you,
gravitate. You're not gonna. If you come from the hood where people stab each other in the back, you're not gonna know about loyalty, respect, friendship. You're not gonna get that, because they've never really been taught it and the environment never catered to it. Now, on the opposite side, you have some people that are so divine, they come out of that still intact, but like, nah, I just ain't with it.
But I feel like most people go out of it because they go out their way to change their situation, change the environment that they in. They go out their way to go look for the good because they've seen
Mm.
somebody who has been divinity themselves.
How
That's
many
what my
people do you
story
know?
is.
No, how many people do you think actually do that? That you know,
That I
besides
know,
yourself, besides
beside
yourself,
myself, of going out their way.
going out their
See,
way. Now, not just doing it because it's fun to do. No, going out of their way to get out of the way.
I've seen a few people. I'm not gonna lie. I had a few friends that did it. Now, did they continue to be committed to
Uh,
it? No.
it's a, and
But
I'm talking
did
about
they
right
do
now.
it?
Did they do it like you done it right now? You good. You
Oh
in
no.
yourself. You love yourself. Don't do
No.
it for 10 years and then fall off.
But I feel like it takes time though. When it really comes to like loving yourself and you had deep ass trauma, it takes time. It takes
Sometimes it
time to
takes
get here.
lifetimes, believe it or
Yeah.
not. We're reincarnated back into the same form, same spot you left off, believe it or not. That's what we talk about on Sundays, the house of many mansions, God's
Hmm.
house of many mansions.
Hmm.
But go ahead.
No, 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 that's all I was saying. I was like, it really does take time, but I feel like if you want to do it, you can do it. It takes us back to when I think it was Derek. Were you, or was it Mr. Accountability? One of them, and he was like, you want to be mature when you want to be mature. It's like it's really that energy of you want to be divine when you want to be divine. You want to step in that divinity when you want to step into it. It's all about what do you want to do, and like you said, how do you know many people that want to get out their own way? Not really. That's why I got out my own way because I was around people who didn't want to get out their own
Get
way.
out there
I
on
had to
what?
get yeah, so I had to get away from that. So I understand that.
Do you
but
know that's a
this
talent to
the
be
thing
able
I
to see
give
something?
about,
Hold on, Ms. Des. You know that's a talent to be able to see someone go through something and learn the lesson without going through it.
Hmm.
That's a
mhm.
spiritual gift. My new key is now when I hear people, I just want them to know what their spiritual gifts are. So when they keep using it, they know why. Go ahead, Miss Desi. My bad.
All right. So Pinky, with what you were saying, I want you to discuss unity consciousness, where the ego dissolves into divinity.
Where the ego
Mm.
dissolves into divinity.
Absolutely.
Does it really ever dissolve though? Like
Mm.
when you say that, it just makes it like you're still making it seem as though ego is just gonna disappear. When ego is never gonna disappear, it's still gonna be right there. Just like you said, you got to keep your foot on your neck when it really comes to ego, because you can't let it overpower you. It takes me back to Wall Street Trapper when he was like the shadow. The shadow can have a seat at the table, but it cannot have a voice at the table. At the end of the day, the ego can have a seat at the table, but it's not the head at the table. It just has a voice at the table, but it will never leave
Ashay.
the table, you know? So when you say when it dissolves into unity, does it ever really dissolve into unity? Like you said, your flesh needs to submit. You're going to submit your ego to dissolve into unity, but it's never going to dissolve into it unless you force it to.
If you
Not
make
even
Kool-Aid,
force.
don't them things be that dissolve into unity? What's alchemy?
What's alchemy? Transmuting? Transmuting the energy?
I'm
But
just saying.
ego is still for self. As much as we can be like, yo, ego is gonna be for everybody else, ego is for self. Divinity is not. Ego, when I'm thinking about creating a group for somebody, I'm thinking about the fact that I'm gonna be a leader. I'm gonna be doing something that I'm always wanting to do. But the divinity in me is like, oh my God, I'm gonna have a community that's gonna love me and that's gonna talk to me. But my ego is gonna be like, I'm really that bitch. I didn't really did this and I really made it happen and I really had this going. But the divinity in me is gonna be like, oh my God, but I have so many beautiful women coming to me, trying to learn from me, and I'm learning from them, and I'm. So it's two different things.
Is that
It's
not
two different things.
balanced?
It's balance, but again, it doesn't go into dissolving that divinity. It just goes into ego or divinity. That's kind of how I see it. It's like ego or divinity.
And I would agree only because after you become reborn or born again, that's only a spiritual term that means when your mind has shifted from one way to another way. That's being born again. So you can be born again evil. It ain't just good. Sometimes you can be born again when we're saying born again, mind shifting. Your thought process goes from one dramatic shift to another.
Hmm.
Saying that when you be as you walk up this spiritual ladder, at every time you get more spiritual power, your ego is gonna test your ass. So I'm agreeing what Miss Pinky said. It's never gone. As soon as you think it's gone, it's gonna pop its head up. Hey, we got this new power. We can do this, bro. We can do this. We can go over here and do this. We can get this done. Ain't nobody gonna know nothing because we strong and we power. That's the ego. You're always going to have to fight that part of you with divinity, the love. We don't need any of it. We're good. We're learning the power because we want to know, not because we want to use any of it to manipulate, to change anything that's going on. No, I just want to know. The
All
spirit
right.
already takes care of me, like Miss Pinky said, divinely protected.
Hmm.
Absolutely. And Elizabeth said ego is usually for the human experience, but if you leave the flesh shoot, we wouldn't need the survival tool of the ego.
Hmm.
So thank you for that, Liz.
I don't know,
Derek,
cause they say in the spiritual realm, the same way you was down here is the same way you gonna be up there. So as much as we saying ego probably not in the spiritual realm, them spirits still the same. That's still a broke ass man spiritually
Whoa, whoa,
and in
whoa,
the
whoa.
physical.
Who said that we're going to be the same when we leave the physical body? Where was that said?
But
What are we talking about?
that's the thing, because a lot of people have assumed that like when you leave this plane, you leave as a better vessel and as a better person. But if you wasn't a good spirit on here, why would you think that you're gonna be a good spirit in the spiritual one? It's just like when people say you calling on ancestors, but if they was broke here, they gonna be broke in the spiritual realm. They didn't do nothing down
Wow.
here. So why would they do something up there? So as much as we saying like when we leave this flesh suit, we not gonna have this. Are we really not though? Because
Well,
you still the same person.
the difference is the vehicle you're working in. I just shown you that there's an inner you that doesn't need a physical body to hear, to see, to taste, everything we do in the physical. You don't it doesn't need this body.
Hmm.
When you get up off the physical body, you come up off of all that, the ego. Why you don't need the ego? Because now you're back in your infinite and eternal form, your spiritual form. You're back in centropy, the electrification of matter, which we do when we create, when that light bulb comes on. These bodies are going through entropy, the decay of matter. All right. So when we leave the meat suit, all the desires of the meat suit are gone.
Are you sure though? Cause I don't believe that. I believe the
I
same
don't, I
way that
don't,
you
yeah,
was on
I
here is
don't
the
agree
same
with
way
that
you're gonna be
either.
in the spiritual realm.
Right.
Same
I
way.
wouldn't say the same, but I
I'm
think
not
that
saying you won't have desire. My bad, Mr. Bat. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not saying you won't have other things to desire, to ponder on. I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying a lot of the stuff in the meat suit, like eating, things of that nature,
Oh,
that's
okay.
done. It's over. You don't need to eat anymore. So a lot of the stuff that comes with just having to eat and piss
Mm-hmm.
and shit, all that's done. So when
Mm-hmm.
I say I'm not trying to take it, maybe because I said it maybe a wrong way. I'm not trying to say, I'm saying when you leave this earthly body alone, a lot of the earthly stuff is stuck in the earthly body. Dust to dust. You travel on in a whole new body of light, or we travel on in a whole new body of light,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Mr. Bat.
I still think we have desires as spirits.
Yeah.
Worldly desires.
Cause don't
Because
they
But
say
you're
every
not in the
every
spirit doesn't
spirit
world.
is
pass
trying to
on.
get on this realm because of the way that we have
You don't. Every
desires and
spirit doesn't
emotions?
pass on to the next round.
Mm-hmm.
Say it again.
I don't think like if we're talking about like life after death, I don't think every spirit passes on to the next realm. Because some spirits stay here. If you believe in
Mm-hmm.
ghosts,
Facts. Some spirit
so
get
with those,
trapped within the ether. I know exactly what you're saying. They get
and
trapped
those
within the
spirits
ether. I'm with you.
have
Huh?
desires, and those spirits have worldly desires.
So basically,
Even the
y'all saying
spirits that
that
they talk about in the
hold
scriptures, they
on, mental.
only have
Hold on, real
worldly
quick. Hold on,
desires
mental.
when they seen the physical.
Mental. Hold on, real quick.
Before then, they didn't have it because they
So
didn't know
y'all
about it.
saying
Go ahead.
that. So y'all saying that the ego perpetuates the illusion of separateness.
Wait, what?
Yes,
That's what y'all saying. Like the
because
ego,
it's
it
enhancing
keeps spinning
Desi
the
and
cycle.
Desi only.
I don't think so though. I don't know if it I could see that. Because a part of me want to be like no, then the other part of me want to be like yes. Because it's like ego not trying to separate you, it's just focused on you. But then it's like that
That's
is
separation.
separation. But then it's like, is it really? Because I'm not thinking about you.
I
It's not
mean,
that I'm
but
trying to separate myself. It's not that I'm trying to disconnect. It's just I'm not thinking about you. Out of sight, out of mind. Ooh.
That's the difference between divinity. Divinity is thinking about you, not only
Mm-hmm.
you and everyone else. The ego thinks only of you. It ain't worried about nobody else. It doesn't care about anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
it cares how you represent or you represent it.
It cares that you are looking good, feeling good,
That's
eating the
for
best
others.
food, hearing
Well,
the best music. That's what it cares about.
That's for
I'm a
All
others.
your senses.
Cause even though my ego is different. Like I feel like it cares about the people that I'm connected to. You gotta look a certain way. You gotta be a certain way. Just like you said, like flashiness. Like if I have a family, you're not finna go out looking embarrassing to me. You're not finna embarrass me. Like I'm connected to you. You finna
And
go out a
and
certain way,
that
like I
what
go
you
out a
just
certain way.
said is part of the ego functioning.
Yeah.
If I wouldn't
So
care what I went out looking like, I ain't going out looking like a bubble. I don't gotta go out looking all hot because there's other people. Look, I don't give a damn about all of what they do. I'm gonna do me, regardless of what anyone else feels.
what
That's
I'm
when you shut
saying.
ego down to the point where I'm in love with myself. If I like what I got on, it's good enough for everybody else. If
That's
they don't like it, so what?
because that's you just have pride in yourself, no matter
Right.
what anyone has to say about it.
But
That's
it
their
takes it away from others. It's me dealing with me. I don't care what other people are going to say. I don't care how I got to look around someone else or this and that because everyone else is doing this. I'm in the world and I love it. I know I'm a stranger. I know I'm crazy like a bat. I know. I get it. Well, everyone
Oh
I thought,
yeah.
yeah, I get it. So I don't run from who I am. I'm not going to do something because everyone else is doing it. That's all I'm saying.
I
Yeah.
feel that.
Well, I feel like with
So
looks, it's not ego either. I mean, looks is ego, but looks for me, like I be having to look good for myself, not for nobody else. Okay, having a little good for
If you
myself.
go outside, every time you go outside, you got to put on makeup and eyelashes and nails and heels and look good. Da, 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 da. Every time. Come on. What are we talking
You think
about?
that's bad though? Because sometimes that's just a part of my aesthetic.
It's not
Especially if I like
it's
looking
not
like it.
good or bad. I don't I
Yeah.
know that doesn't exist. The
Yeah.
problem with that is the ego starts to take over and says, "No, we got to look good cuz we look good."
Okay.
And you should be saying, "No, I can go out here any goddamn way I want to. I give a fuck about what these motherfuckers say about me." And that should be always your attitude. Now, does that mean you're gonna go out the house looking bummy all the time? No. But this should
Mm-hmm.
never be in the forefront of your mind when you wake up in the morning. I gotta look good today. That is not a good thing. That's ego.
Mm-hmm.
All
Because why
day
would I
and
Elizabeth
look
twice
good?
on
said
Sundays.
the ego is a survival tool, but socially we have put so many unnecessary responsibilities it wasn't designed for. I agree with
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
You've
Like
given
what?
the ego too many social responsibilities. You out here trying to
Mm-hmm.
fulfill what everybody else say you should like, smell, think good, look good, feel good, sound good,
There it
smell
is.
good,
But I don't
whatever. And
understand
that's what
how.
she's saying. You put all these other responsibilities on it, but if you use it for what it's supposed to, its purpose for, then you'll be able to make better sense of it. But I think
I
that
would.
go back to when you was talking about ego being the I. Then I think you said something like it's not the ego adverse, but anyways, the ego,
Mm-hmm.
super ego, what is it called?
Mhm.
And the super ego, I feel like
The
that's
I,
what
the ego, and the super ego. Yes, conscious,
well,
subconscious, and unconscious.
I feel like this called the ego adverse then. And this when your ego attach itself to consciousness. This when you get that
It is
human that's
attached.
huh?
It is attached.
With which
That's why
one?
you can't get rid of it.
Yeah.
It
I
won't
said
just dissolve like Miss Pinky said.
this when you get them people who use the ego to manipulate others and they can they can see like how divine people see. They can see divinity, they can see it, but then they use it
Uh,
in an adverse reality type of thing. That's what I'm saying in that type of
uh,
sense. So it's like
and
the
that would be the
ego.
ego telling them, yo, we can
Yeah,
do this. We can make
exactly.
this money. We can be this big. Everybody gonna
Exactly.
want us, man. Let's do it. Let's do it. And you
Yeah,
will, as
that.
far as you go in the spirit, you'll always have to check yourself.
Well,
Hmm.
Trust
question,
me.
question. So, what does a healthy ego look like?
I think that,
Controlled.
yeah, I think that one just looked like
I
what you
also got a
said.
question.
Like it's the double-edged sword that it is. If you are still weighted energy, you'll be able to understand when you need something. People gonna be mad at you because you understand how to navigate your confidence, and they'll call it the ego. They'll make you feel like it's something else. They'll tell you it's something else. But like y'all said earlier, it's just a thing of love. It's just me operating in the person that I am. It's just me operating in my authenticity. And my authenticity, however, has the ability to offend.
Facts.
I can't get no fuck that you
Facts.
offended because you feeling some type of way because you're not this person. So my
Nothing to do
and
with
it'll
me.
look like my ego kicking in because I'm like, bitch, I don't get no fuck about you. I really and it's not me sitting here, but that's when I learned to practice. That's when I learned to shut the fuck up. Just practice silence. People don't even get mad at your silence.
Yeah.
So it just really don't matter how you figure yourself out. It don't matter how you go around. Like I said, when you learn to quiet your ego, when you learn to turn all that noise down that you got your ego going on, talking about I can't figure this out. My mind won't turn off. My do. And like Mental
Mm-hmm.
said, when he said, tell you close your eyes and picture a television, how you see in the television because your mind is a projector. It see what you wanted to see. The moment you
Facts.
understand that you create your reality, hello, you project your reality, that is what you do, then you could walk in that. Y'all so busy wishing y'all somebody else. You so busy wishing, and that's how you end up putting all these responsibilities on your ego. Because it's the shit that you got to keep up with on the daily. How you fall into a depression because you can't keep up with your ego, with the needs of your ego. You slow down long enough, you'll understand it. But
So
yeah,
what is the ego for?
That's a good question.
the ego is for self. It's
It
for
has a purpose.
yourself.
It's
You're
for you.
sitting there and you're trying to appease to
So
everybody else through your ego,
No,
and
no.
it's not.
When the ego first kicks in, the ego is your first bits of self confidence. It
That
comes
is
from the
so true.
ego.
But
When
y'all
you're a
keep
kid
over.
and you take a step or they like, yeah. The ego like, yeah, nigga, I told you we can walk. We can do this thing right here, nigga. We walk, nigga. That's what
Yeah,
I'm just trying to, make it. But
it's
that's
for
what
you.
so it's needed. But once you're walking, you don't need the ego in the back. Yeah, nigga, we walking like a beast, nigga. We've been walking for 2 years, nigga. Shut the hell up. Nobody trying to hear you talk about
Still
me. I've
gonna
been walking.
activate
Nigga, I'm
every
running
time you
now. I'm
go.
swimming. I don't need you to talk
Yeah,
about that. That's what I'm trying to say when we talk about what it's for. That's why it's a double-edged sword.
it's for
You do need
yourself.
it,
You do.
but once you've accomplished a certain thing, you don't need someone patting you on the back for something. Everybody, it's not that big of a
so
deal, bro. But the ego
that
will keep doing it if you let it.
so it evolves.
Because I
The
really feel
ego
like the ego is
does.
for
The
like something of the
ego.
startup. Oh,
What you
sorry.
say, Pinky?
I was gonna say I feel like ego is something for the startup of something new inside of you, but also the maintenance, because it's
It
really
is.
maintaining your
It's
mind.
needed.
But your
Yeah.
ego gotta keep up. You have to make sure your ego keeps up. That's what he's talking about. That's inertia. How your ego still congratulating you for shit you did 10 years ago. How y'all
Mm-hmm.
think people get stuck and repeating the same cycles because we still trying to figure out, oh, but why did my dad leave me? Oh, well, I can figure this out. But even though my dad left me, that's probably not the reason. Let's try something else.
Mm-hmm.
That's the inertia. And that's what it is. Something keeps propelling you forward to keep delving into your trauma, to keep dealing with the same shit until you hit a wall that tell you, no, bitch, you can't do this no more. And that be it.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
you
that
gotta stop.
something that tells you is you telling you.
Yeah.
Don't get it twisted. Everything good comes from within us.
Well,
Ah,
confidence boosting dopamine and a dopamine bump. It
the
really is.
ego.
That's what ego is. You're right about that. I agree. So like I think
Wait, so
that's
you
what
think the
so
ego will have you going back to somebody? Will have you going back to somebody that you know you don't need?
absolutely, because you'll be like, because I know I could get you
Well,
back. I knew I could
no,
get you
no.
back. Look at you
Once
right back
again,
at my
Really?
doorstep.
what does the ego priming doing? It wants something. So what do you want out of that guy that you think your ego is priming you back? Was the love that good? He had all the money. He treated you great. Something
Fuck the
about him is
love.
gonna
Was the
affect the
dick that
ego
good?
that make
Oh,
you
yeah,
right, that
nigga.
make you
We
want
ain't
to go
gonna be
back.
real about it. Was the dick that good? Fuck you
I
talking
guess.
about? Because 9 times out of 10, little Tony fucked us good. He did it right. He hit the right spots, made you squirt every time. And that's the
Every time.
only reason why you keep letting that nigga back in the door. And the ego definitely gonna prime your ass up. Oh,
It's
this that
gonna
comeback coochie.
You
This
ain't gonna
that
get this
super
nowhere
coochie.
else,
It's
girl.
gonna
You ain't
get
never
you.
gonna find no one like this. You gotta stay with him, girl, because you ain't never
Come
gonna be happy
on.
again.
Ain't nobody ever did this to your body. You know how it be talking to us. Come on. Act like it don't, though. Act like it don't.
But see,
No,
we
because I
can
just
talk
never
about
felt
this.
that when it
We
comes
can
to
talk about this when
situations.
we're grown, because this is
Uh-huh.
honest conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Honest. It happens to all of us.
Definitely.
Yeah, but it just be that. But if you allow your ego to serve your higher self, then what you understand is your ego will prime you while your higher self is pumping you. This why you do affirmations, right?
Mm-hmm.
This why you remember, because you're affirming who's affirming what? Your ego. What is I am this, I am that, I feel this. It's all that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what affirmations are.
And
So
that's
that's why I feel like your ego and your spirituality become a one thing. Where if we think about it, why they burst in particles together trying to figure out what the God particle is because shit is infused.
Uh-huh.
It's not because it can't be undone. We hitting particles.
Yeah.
We turned on the atomic accelerator to try and see how we can undo it. And what y'all think we be out here? What the ego do? It trying to see how it can undo you. That's what temptation is.
Right?
Uh-huh.
And that's
So
and that's what you
temptation is an
associate.
ego.
Huh?
What'd you say?
I said temptation is an ego.
But he told you in the beginning that it was Satan. Satan is
Any
temptation.
temptation.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
If you don't want to do something, you trying to lose weight. and you can't seem to lose weight because you can't stop eating certain things.
Your ego gonna tell you.
Your ego gonna be like, girl, forget that shit, man. Go ahead and eat that food, girl. You don't care. Or go ahead, don't go to the gym. We don't need that goddamn gym. Turn this TV on and be good. The ego is always gonna fight against change. There we go. Your ego is gonna fight against change.
Yeah.
It wants
That's
to
what it
keep shit
is.
the way it is, the way it's normally supposed to be.
How
No,
you feeling over there, Derek?
I don't agree with that one.
Go
No,
ahead, talk to me.
With ego, it's pride, right? And your pride
Yeah.
is saying, hey, I can't be like this anymore.
it's not just pride, but go ahead.
I said, with ego, there's pride. And it says, I can't be like this anymore. Your pride can say, oh, all right, I can't be like this. And that's a part of ego.
But if
And
your truth manipulated, then your pride ain't gonna think that type of
But
way.
what if
This,
it's not? Because I've never been the type to like just stay in a cycle just because, oh my God, I gotta stay here. No, I ain't gotta stay here. That's what that ego do for me. It always make me
but
have to leave.
but your truth
Whoa,
never
whoa, whoa,
allowed
no,
you
hold
to
on. So
move. I
explain that to
told
me.
you, hold on, mental, because this is something I've been talking about for a while, Pinky.
Uh-huh.
Truth carry a heavier conviction than whatever lie you stuck in, than whatever delusion you stuck in. So when truth really hit, it's gonna push you out of your delusion. It don't matter. You gonna make change.
Facts.
That ego gonna have to bow down eventually.
It's gonna have to
When
go
your
fall to the
ego, it's just
backside.
going boom. This is what inertia is. You flowing, flowing, flowing until something stop you. What mental say is gonna be yourself that's gonna stop you. How you standing up? How your face walk? You hear me? You said
Mm-hmm.
I ain't never stayed in a place because I thought I had to, but you stayed for what?
Mm-hmm.
You ain't
Facts.
like the way you was being treated. You ain't like the way shit was going. Why you still there?
Mm-hmm.
And that will be where my shadow work come in. This that trigger. This that band-aid I'm ripping off. This that let me go deeper. Because what made me just think that I was perfect
Well,
enough
you
to
gotta
even
remember,
come out with the let me check me. There go
ego
your
runs
ego.
straight with emotion.
There you
Ego and emotions. Tight. When you get one under control, the next one is next. You gotta get your emotions under control. Cause that's what's gonna ego is gonna use
go.
to get back into you.
Eating at it.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I agree.
That's what it's gonna use to get right back into you. What looks good,
But
feels good, tastes good, sounds good, smells good. You ain't got your emotions under control, you're gonna
mhm.
fall right back into the same. So it's a circling pattern.
What
Once you get
Elizabeth
your
said,
emotions under control, it ain't over there. Now you gotta start thinking better.
Change
Elizabeth
happens
said
when you
change
You see
happens
what I'm
when
saying?
you are
It's
Mm-hmm.
uncomfortable.
because
You
now once you
uncomfortable.
start thinking better, then you ain't got to worry about the emotions coming up if you ain't thinking that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And that's that shift. That's that being reborn.
Do
Before
that.
I was a sex addict. Now I don't even think about sex. I think about it, but it's under control. It's healthy.
Do
Mm-hmm.
that
Before it
make
was
more?
unhealthy.
Do that make more sense to you, Derek?
um, I mean, I understand. I get y'all points.
Okay. All right. I want to hear yours. What's yours? Tell me yours. Since you get our points, let us get your point.
I just feel like there was just the dynamic was missing there as far as pride. When you feel strongly about something, ego is a strong feeling. You know,
Mhm.
Mhm.
so if you feel like, hey, I have to do this, which is your ego telling you, hey, I have to do this. That's change. Having to do something like if I want to achieve this, I have to do it. I have to, because then you got to think like, okay, my ego's telling me people are watching me.
Can I
And
ask you a question? How many times has your ego told you I have to do this and you end up doing the same shit?
there's plenty of times, but also there's been times where my ego will say, hey, I gotta do this, and I have to change, and I would do something different.
I feel like it takes
I
you back to that
understand.
double-edged sword that he said.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree.
Same
It's
thing.
that though.
Because your ego can tell you, all right, I have to stand up to this bully. Enough is a motherfucking, and you end up winning. Now the problem is, here's the double-edged sword. Now the ego gonna say to you, nigga, you can beat everybody. You a beast. Go knock everybody out if anyone says anything to you. You see what I'm saying? That's what
Mhm.
the negative side of the ego is. The good part of it was no, stand up for yourself. We're gonna fight this battle, win, lose, or draw.
Then you
The
get your ass.
negative side is once you get that power, you gain that confidence. Now you got to check yourself.
This is ego attaching itself to consciousness. You've made it aware of another standard that it has
Oh, I
possible, that it
like
can
that.
utilize, that it can manipulate, that it can take a hold of to create
Mm-hmm.
reality. What we said at
Mm-hmm.
the beginning is that in ego strength lies its weakness. So in the same ability for it to have that adverse effect, it's the same ability for it to have it in the spiritual. And that's how you get that cross. So you just you gotta carry the balance. How you weighing it out.
I like that.
So more corrections, but I appreciate y'all for tuning in with us. If y'all got any last words that y'all would like to say to the people, just go ahead. The bat, Pinky, Mental, who would like to
Go
start?
on, Pinky. I hear it. Go on, say it.
Right.
You hear what? I'm like, I'm be like, hey y'all, I really loved y'all. I really love this debate. I really love this conversation. I love the masculine energy that comes in and gives their opinion because I don't have a lot of. I'm gonna say I don't see a lot of good masculine energy in my life. I'm around a lot of. I
Mm.
don't want to say bitches, but I'm around a lot of females.
Yeah.
So I really definitely love how there's like supportive masculine energy in this. But I also love Desi Lou for just even starting this and opening up a space where people can talk, where people can come and they can have conversation. It's not about debate. It's about literal conversation about what you think, what I think, and let's see if we can form it into something even better. So yeah.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so
Mhm.
much. I enjoyed having you, Pinky, in real life. I love the perspective. The bats?
Great energy.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Like I said, I really wish I would have just changed my name to the Brain.
I
Oh
really think
God,
Pinky
Pinky
was
in the
the smart one, though.
brain.
I don't know. I
Pinky
really
in the
think
brain.
Pinky
That
was
would
the
have been
smart
good.
one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Pinky was the smart one. The
I
brain
would.
was a little slow. He
I'm
kept
going to
going for
take over the
insanity.
world.
He wanted to take
It's
over the
okay.
world every single day.
What
I
they
don't
say, a
know.
woman's influence.
No.
A woman's influence. It's
But
okay.
look, you know what I got with it? I always got he wanted to take over his own world.
He wanted to just
Nah, he
destroy
was trying to take over the
It had
whole
nothing to
world,
do with
building
anyone else. He
lasers
just
and
wanted to take
shit.
over his
Come
own
on.
shit, nigga.
He
And if
wanted
you
He
run
was
around or in
building
my world, then
lasers.
I got what you say?
Lasers, mental. Lasers. Not his
he
own
wanted to
world. Not
destroy
his
it.
own world.
His own world. That's all he needed.
Oh, and I
Pinky
Mind
was
like your
trying to
hat.
take over
It's
his own
cute.
world because Pinky had no idea what the fuck was going on half the fucking time. Like, boy, he didn't know. No, Pinky was the genius. Pinky had it right. Boy, I don't know what the fuck you out here trying to fight the world for, but
Like,
let's
what are
go
you
do
gonna do
something else.
today? We're
Girl,
gonna take over the world.
like,
He'd
boy,
be
get the
like,
fuck on.
okay. He had no idea what that even meant.
You know
He
what
was
I'm saying?
chilling.
Like, fuck y'all. All right, the brain. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But all I want to say is, keep living, keep learning.
Facts.
Absolutely. Thank you. Mental.
Back to the root of the conversation, divinity versus the ego. Both are most needed, one a little more than the next, but we got to learn that, as we grow, we outgrow certain mechanisms in us. As we become more spiritual, we outgrow. Not outgrow as in discard them, they'll never be used. No, they're under such control. Like I think Miss Desi said, or Miss Pinky said, they become one with the system.
Mm-hmm.
They don't function outside of everyone else. They function with everyone else. And that's when the whole system and that's when that divinity becomes one. Because
Mm-hmm.
it can't happen without that love principle.
Absolutely.
So, but a great conversation. I love the energy of this group. Fabulous. Great job, Miss Desi. Miss Pinky, bravo. I
Thank
love that energy, girl. You already know Bat or the brain, which one, either one. It don't matter.
you. And in
Yeah.
the back, I love your hat. I was looking at that the whole time. I said, I
Me
need to
too.
cop
I
that.
just didn't say nothing.
Okay. I said, I
I
need to have
learned a
that.
couple of these things now, so
I feel that.
it's fun.
Well, as always, I appreciate y'all so much. So, just before we leave, I want to give a shout out to like the guys over at Overstands in Darkness, also Jazz Daily. If you haven't yet, check out Stardust Candles. Also, Chris, he ain't been on, but also check out the Akata collection, and that's collection
Mhm.
with a K. Make
Facts.
sure you see him. Queen's Closet LLC. That's a plus size boutique. You can get all of your needs taken care of. Okay.
That's what's up.
Don't forget, Riss was just in here and she is Medusa New York, and you could shop with her. And then we got Pinky Inner Conversations. You can follow her on YouTube. So make sure you check them out. And China, she's not here right now, but that's Valet Sensuals. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. And I hope you enjoyed the conversation. And we'll see you Sunday at 8 p.m. EST. Have a good
Bye,
night.
y'all.